Kyrol, New Horizon. Chapter 5. As Dacia explores the nearby markets, searching for some kind of lead, she stumbles upon something that catches her eye. She saw the tip of a brown glove and moved some of the other clothes to get a better look, finding the second one that matched the first. Upon closer inspection, Dacia saw that these gloves had a golden Jedi symbol stitched into the palms. Yet the symbol was different, older, from a time long past.
Where did you find these?
She asks the shop owner, a basilisk wearing old and dirty clothes.
Won them in a game of sabak from some scavengers, 100 credits.
Dacia scoffs at the price, playing ignorance to try and get more information.
For a pair of gloves? You can't be serious?
These are Jedi issue, seems only fair, and apparently these are from the end of those old Sith and Jedi wars. Now do you want to buy them or not? Otherwise get lost half-breed.
Dacia was inches away from punching the owner in the face, but kept herself calm.
Fine.
Reaching into a small pouch on her belt, she pulled out the necessary credits as the basilisk gives a greedy grin.
Pleasure doing business, half-breed.
She walks away, furious at being called that again. What she wouldn't give to be on Tython right now. Sitting by the Seeing Stone with Kyrol or sparring with Liam. Needing to clear her head, she makes her way back to the hideout, but is grabbed tightly by her arm. Dacia quickly turns to face the stranger, but freezes with fear as she sees who it is.
Miss me, Kuvi.
Toza?
The vile Rodian gives a sadistic grin as he moves closer to Dacia.
Been a long time, Kuvi. How's the Jedi training going? Or did they send you back here because you didn't make the cut?
You should still be in prison, Bugface.
They let me out on good behavior, but it doesn't matter. I have you again, and this time you work for free.
Dacia manages to get free from Toza's grip, and the two stand there as everyone else goes about their business.
I already was free labor. You took an innocent child and abused her. You showed me anything other than kindness. Just to survive, I had to scrounge and scrape for food while you dined like a king. You never cared about me. I was just your personal slave.
Enraged, Toza grabs Dacia's arm again, this time far tighter than before.
Let me tell you something, Kuvi. I am the closest thing to family you have. In fact, you could say I'm like a...
Dacia breaks free from Toza's grip and in a moment of anger launches him back with a force so hard that he crashes through multiple stands and hits the back of his head on a wall. The once fast-moving crowds of people stop in their tracks and see the destruction caused, and some go to check on Toza. As more people come to the scene, Dacia quietly begins to blend into the crowd, trying not to be noticed. She takes a second to look at her arm and sees a fresh bruise. Kyrol and Liam make their way into the crowd trying to find Dacia before something worse happens. Liam spots Dacia and grabs her arm. She turns around, ready for another fight as she sees Liam and the two quietly make their way out of the crowd, followed closely by Kyrol. As they made their way past the large crowd, Kyrol notices Dacia's demeanor. She almost felt like a different person. They make it inside their hideout as the door slides shut behind them.
Are you insane? Both of you nearly gave away who we were.
It's not like I intended to do that, you idiot.
Either way, you could have been seen. And what would have happened then?
Well, it didn't, so it doesn't matter.
For the Force's sake, who was it?
It doesn't matter. Besides, it sounds like I'm not the only one who messed up.
She looks to Kyrol as he lowers his head slightly.
At least he didn't send someone flying into a wall,
says Liam as he gets closer to Dacia, his posture ready for a fight.
I'll send you flying if you don't back off.
As she gets closer to Liam, arms crossed.
Liam, enough!
Chimes Kyrol. Liam turns his head, facing Kyrol.
I don't even want to get into it with you right now. Now you two stay here. I will investigate a lead I found. I'll be back soon.
Liam storms out as the door slides shut behind him. Kyrol turns to Dacia, but she had already begun walking upstairs. Deciding that now wasn't a good time, he sits next to Scout, placing his cybernetic hand on the droid's head. Later in the evening, Kyrol is meditating as he hears soft crying. He opens his eyes and looks around for the source. Seeing no one in the room he was in, Kyrol listens closely and hears it coming from the roof. He finds an old ladder near an open window. He climbs the rusted ladder and he reaches the top, finding Dacia sitting close to the edge, hunched over with her head tucked between her knees.
Is everything okay?
Dacia jumps slightly, startled by Kyrol's sudden appearance as she quickly wipes away tears.
Oh, everything's fine. What are you doing up here? I thought you'd be meditating.
I heard you crying and wanted to see.
I wasn't crying.
He notices her bloodshot eyes but chose to ignore it.
My mistake. If you need me, I'll be inside.
Kyrol is about to climb down the ladder when Dacia speaks up.
Kyrol, wait. Could you at least sit out here with me? Some company would be nice.
Kyrol turns around and sits next to Dacia.
Nice evening.
It is.
The two sit there, making light conversation and telling a few jokes at each other. After both laugh at a joke, they sit in silence for a moment before Dacia looks at the evening sky.
Remember when I got upset about coming here and when you asked if I was all right?
Kyrol nods, wondering where this is going.
The truth is, I was scared to come back here.
Dacia takes a deep breath before continuing.
This is my home.
This building or...
Oh, not this dump. This city. This is where I was raised for 4 years.
You were born here?
And I was afraid of running into Tosa.
Kyrol looks at her with a confused look.
Tosa?
He was that Rhodian I told you about. Even though I knew he was in prison, I was scared that he would be free.
Dacia begins to tear up.
Tosa was physically and mentally abusive.
She removes her hand from her arm, showing Kyrol the bruise he left after grabbing her.
I was nothing. A thing to retrieve ship parts and other valuables for him to sell. My food portions were so small that not even the womp rats would touch them. If I talked back to him, he would hit me or worse. I sometimes still have nightmares about those times.
Kyrol just sat there at a loss for words. How do you respond to something like that?
I had hoped to never see him again, but today, as I was leaving a shop, he saw me. He started talking about how he was the only family I had, and I just lost control. Sure, it was technically self-defense, but part of me wanted to hurt him after all the years of torment. Does that make me a bad Jedi?
A few tears fall from her eyes as she looks at Kyrol.
No, Dacia. Anyone would have done the same thing. I know I would have.
The two continue to look at the sky, seeing ships of all kinds flying above.
So why was Liam mad at you? You two are like brothers. I mean, sure, you bicker, but I've never seen him that mad.
While trying to get information from some guy, I had to use my Jedi communicator as a bet in a game of sabacc.
Didn't know you played.
I've played it once or twice on missions, but only as part of a distraction. Anyways, it started out as just getting information, but when that Slimo showed me this, I had to get it back.
Kyrol opens one of his belt pouches, pulling out the yellow Kyber crystal. Dacia looks at the crystal in amazement.
You risked potential exposure over this.
Yeah, I know it was dumb and foolish.
If it was any other Jedi, I'd say they were stupid, but with you it makes sense. I have never seen a Jedi with as much heart as you do. Even though you still suck as a duelist.
The two share a laugh as they watch the setting sun. Unknowingly, the tips of their fingers touch each other before they hear Liam come back. As the door shuts, they get up to meet him. As they do, Kyrol gets that same feeling again. He wasn't tired, so it can't be that. Could it be stress or was it something else? Whatever it was, it would have to wait.